Welcome to this edition of Weather to Watch. It is Monday, the 13th of April. We've got a continuing pattern that seems to favor a trough of low pressure, in other words, stormier weather in the west that's really going to translate to rain and repeated rounds of thunderstorms, not just this week, but also probably much of next week as well. I'm meteorologist Ted Keller. Let's take a closer look. Here is the lower 48. We've got the visible satellite loop here running, and it's a very vivid picture. We've got all kinds of interesting high clouds and cumulus clouds developing thunderstorms there, evidence of a circulation in the atmosphere in the southwestern U.S., and all that is very interesting. And if we overlay the 500 millibar chart, you certainly do see that upper level system causing the rotation out west there. Here, this is a very interesting. We have this broad sort of flow in the upper atmosphere out of the southwest, and while it's not real defined, there are little ripples and occasional little short waves in here. There's a couple there. There's another one there. And each of these, in their own way, is contributing to a little bit of a severe weather threat, even up here. I'll show you that in a minute. But this is a developing situation for sure. We have surface low pressure right along the South Dakota and Nebraska border with a front, a warm front, maybe stationary front, probably a warm front. It probably goes back and forth between the two here over the next couple of hours. But this is a primary focus area for severe weather. I'll show you a tornado warning as I record this. That's on that front right now. And then there's another system right here that's developing and moving into the plains. As you might expect, as when you saw the colors on that map, here's another look at it. Temperatures are very, very warm, including 80 in Des Moines, Iowa. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 75. Rapid City, same number. It's 84 in Dallas right now. Cincinnati, 74 degrees. The cool air, if you want to call it that, is 42 in Bismarck, North Dakota. And Caribou is also 43 degrees. Let's take a look at this developing severe weather situation today. Here is the risk that is valid for the rest of tonight and through 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time tomorrow. This is issued by the Storm Prediction Center. A level 3 out of 5 is in that area from southern Minnesota straight east into Wisconsin. And you can see that's a 3 out of 5 here. That's an enhanced risk. A pretty large area of number 2, which is slight risk. 2. And then this was added this afternoon down here in Oklahoma. This was just a 1. Now it's up to a 2 from Oklahoma City down into the heart of North Texas. These are mesoscale convective discussions. So the Storm Prediction Center, the Weather Service, will issue these as sort of a precursor to a possible watch. So these were all over the place here this afternoon from South Dakota along the front. There was one here, but it's now a watch. And same for this one here, and then down here along Oklahoma City, straight down almost to Mexico. The only 2 watches at this recording, and there will be more, is this tornado watch that extends from south central Minnesota straight into Wisconsin, where that level 3 was being plotted, and a severe thunderstorm watch there for the southern suburb of Chicago down to Kankakee. They're still rattled from a month ago, and northern Indiana, a little bit of a sliver of Michigan too. Look at this, at 4 o'clock, we had a huge thunderstorm that was already pushing 2 to 3 inch hail, somewhere between, well, let's see, we're looking at Minneapolis is on the top of your screen up here, and Rochester is just a little bit below it. So halfway between those two towns, and a tornado warning was issued, as it is starting to take on a little bit of a hook kind of characteristic for sure. And this is going to be one of a couple, I think, that form up there. Large hail is the main calling card, but as this storm may prove, if any can stay along that frontal boundary, they can benefit from the enhanced low-level rotation and produce some spin-up, some tornadoes. Some of them could be pretty severe. Now on Tuesday, the severe weather risk doesn't go away. In fact, it's just a little bit south and east of where I just showed you. So now southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, and much of eastern Iowa under the gun, but this extends all the way from Michigan straight down the heart of Texas. So I fully anticipate, while this may be the worst of the area, the dry line may have something to say about that tomorrow, and always be watching for subsequent updates. And then on Wednesday, the show doesn't end. The system actually stalls a little bit, waits, and then the main energy comes back out. So from Madison, Wisconsin, straight down through Missouri to Oklahoma City, a level 2 out of 5 risk. And again, as we get closer to Wednesday, tomorrow as an example, there may be room for a level 3 in that somewhere as well. And this is new on the radar. This is Friday. And I was talking about this yesterday during my daily severe thunderstorm outlook videos. And by the way, check that out, that they're issued every morning at least once. And it may talk a little bit more in detail about what's causing all this. But anyway, this is for Friday. This is Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma once again. There's bound to be some springtime rain in a lot of this, right? Let's take a look at the heavy rain situation. Well, if we look at the next 5 days of precipitation, this doesn't really parse it out by day. It just says, here's what's going to happen over the next 5 days. So we definitely see a maximum area there from Chicago over into Michigan. Also kind of a secondary maximum area there in the Ozarks, part of southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma. For the present, they are looking out for a slight risk, at least a 15% risk, of rainfall exceeding flash flood guidance from central Wisconsin over Lake Michigan over into lower Michigan. And also on Tuesday, that was for tonight, and also on Tuesday, that shifts right along with this entire weather pattern. Remember the severe weather was here, and then the heavy rains are forecast to develop on the northern end of that, and still be plaguing parts of Michigan, including Grand Rapids and Lansing on Tuesday. As far as quantitative precipitation forecast by the Weather Prediction Center, we're looking at about a 2.5 inch rain total band there through central Michigan, and it looks like Chicago is maybe going to get about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of rain from this weather system as well. If we go forward to Friday, there's another heavy rainfall area again, pretty coinciding with the severe weather risk area that we showed you. So this would be, again, for Friday. And the best I can do on this is show you the total precipitation close up for the next 5 days. And that's showing 3-4 inch totals in this area here from the main two tonight, but other rounds that may develop. And then down here through this secondary maximum area, we're talking about 1.5 inches to maybe 2 inches of rain over the next 5 days. It's part of a pattern that will last Sunday through Thursday. Getting into next week, we still have this corridor of high confidence of above normal precipitation, which maximizes in Texas and maximizes in central California. Let's take a look at the pattern change and see what's causing all this. This is the EPS weeklies. This was issued Thursday, late in the day, but it starts today. So basically it shows you what the 500 millibar flow will look like on average together over the next 7 days beginning today. So we have this trough of low pressure out west and a ridge in the east. So this is going to mean hot weather basically here and cooler weather out here, but it also implies that this area here is a rain and thunderstorm zone, and that's indeed what's been unfolding, as you saw. As far as the temperature anomalies, everybody on this side of that trough will be warm, excessively warm in parts of Virginia, Pennsylvania. In fact, almost excessive heat with low 90s forecast for that area. I'll show you the daily maps here in a second. Now, on precipitation, we have that, not surprisingly, maximum rainfall anomaly area here where that rain was really going to set in Wisconsin, also in Michigan, but they also go ahead and throw northern Illinois and Indiana into that too. And you saw there were maybe 2 inch totals for Chicago, maybe a little bit more, and there's that little secondary area as well. I did want to show you the EPS 500 millibar flow. This is just going to loop over the next 7 days. So we see this main disturbance here is what's causing all the problems. Then this one comes out and is going to cause Friday's severe weather and rain problem. It moves out. Then we take a break, but believe it or not, by Sunday night and Monday of next week, we already have another little trough setting up. So here's the main flow. Everything out ahead of this through Wednesday is a trouble area. And then here's that secondary one right here. And then again, toward the last couple of frames, you'll notice that it becomes troughy, if that's a word, again, out west. Let's take a look at those temperatures. Well, as I indicated, it's an above normal pattern for sure. So where you see the warmer colors, that is above normal temperatures. And then the actual readings include 90 on Tuesday in St. Louis. Minneapolis, St. Paul will enjoy a little bit of a cool down at 69 degrees. It'll be 80 in Pittsburgh. It looks like about 72 degrees, 73 in Boston. But New York City will be 81 degrees, close to 90 or 90 in Virginia. And that's not the worst of it. And if we get through to Thursday, we've got Raleigh, North Carolina at 92 degrees, our nation's capital, 91. It'll be in Rapid City, 77 degrees, lots of above normal temperatures. Dodge, 86 degrees, as that trough kind of stalls a little bit and allows, again, warmer air to reassert itself through the northern plains. And then finally, we have a cool front. And this is the high temperature pattern on Saturday. We have this large below normal area finally as a front finally slices through, shuts this down. But as you saw, temporarily with another trough of developing out west by next week. The temperature outlook for Sunday through Thursday verifies that while there's a high maximum area of confidence for above normal temperatures in Georgia, again, the plains will be warm. So even though there's a cold front slicing through here this weekend, I don't think it'll make a whole lot of difference temperature-wise, just a temporary reprieve before readings go back up next week. If we go out for the next 2 weeks, now this begins a week from today and goes out 7 days. So this is 7 days worth of average 500 millibar flow starting a week from today. So look at this, another trough of low pressure showing up out west. Again, that's going to favor shower and thunderstorm development. Some of those storms will be severe, and some of them will probably produce some heavy rain as part of a pattern. And the temperature anomalies settle down a little bit. We still see a peak there in the southeast and in the Great Plains, but the extremes are kind of worn off this a little bit. Precipitation rates are showing the same kind of just kind of blotchiness, not as widespread. But this area right here, if this holds true, could really use some rain, by the way. And in fact, the government has outlined that the April 22nd through 24th period is under a slight risk for a heavy rain risk parameter that runs from the Great Lakes states all the way down to Louisiana, including all of Arkansas, most of Missouri, all of Illinois, all of Indiana, and a good portion of Kentucky and Tennessee. As far as supercells are concerned, again, you're on the warm side of that average trough, so you might expect to see them, and you certainly do in the tornado frequency area that is well known for late April and early May. And then going 1 week out from that even, this is a 2-week look, this is week 3, there does seem to be some suppression finally by the very last days of April. This implies a high or some sort of cool and stable air mass moves in, but Texas still the hot spot. And just to remind you, the April outlook did call for the maximum warm temperatures out in Utah, and certainly this part of the country has been warm, but it's going to probably be a little bit warmer even, and this precipitation area here is really going to work out because this whole area continues to get hit by one rainstorm after another. So yeah, April will end up above normal pretty much in that area outlined there. Thanks for watching this edition of Weather to Watch. It comes out every other day, or as the weather necessitates. Please remember to share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel, or at the very least, like what you just watched. Thanks.